the community which is most affected right now is civilians.
Yeah.
I mean, it's over the weekend, seeing families fleeing for their lives, parents can only use sources handed out from the ministry.
Yeah.
The Ukrainians are bombing themselves. There's a civilian MP who shows her weapons in Chechnya. What is going to happen to Kyiv, do you think? So people wonder, the might of the Russian army is enormous. Why they haven't so far taken more territory? Is that because Putin is holding something back? Or news this morning, we are going to speak to a Russian journalist in a moment. He's fled his home amid President Putin's crackdown on independent media. First, here's Randy. Let's have a look at the weather now. Here's Laura. I just want to pay tribute to Shane Warne this morning. He'd been a guest on this.
He said that possibly the best night of his life, certainly the most memorable, was a night out on the town with Shane Warne. He said it was just, it's still illuminated in bright lights in his memory. It was just an incredible...
He knew how to live his life to the absolute full, and died tragically young, of course, on Friday at the age of just 52. Some on Good Morning Britain. We're live in Kyiv.
6:27 now. Let's get the news, the travel and the weather wherever you're watching.
See you in a moment.
It's 6:30 nearly. We're joined by the Mail's Andrew.
Staying with us, John Sweeney.
I think you mean the truth, don't you?
Well, we'll find out about that definition and the risk of that prison sentence next.
You're watching Good Morning Britain on ITV.
See you in a moment.
Also joining us now live from
independent Russian news site Medusa. It's like
Good Morning Britain.
6:56. It's competition time. Here's Andy. So the breaking news this morning is that Russia says it is opening new humanitarian corridors across multiple Ukrainian cities to allow civilians to evacuate. That is the message coming from state media. Ukrainian officials have yet to confirm that information.
Can they trust these so-called safe corridors? Because up until now, the civilians have been shelled as they try to leave. The Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky says that Russian attacks on civilians will never be forgiven, as men, women and children are needlessly targeted and their communities reduced to rubble. In a moment, we're going to be speaking to a journalist who's in Kyiv. But first, Louisa James has this report for us. What a sweet little girl. Listen, let's speak to journalist Bryce Wilson, who's...
In minutes, we're going to speak to a Ukrainian MP who is a mum of 3, including a 9-month-old baby. And she's driven her children to their grandmother outside of the country. She's now back in Kyiv. She's armed and ready to fight. Talk to her shortly. That's our main news. Also, we'll speak to former Prime Minister Gordon Brown as well. Here's Ranveer with the rest of the... Yeah, absolutely right. We've been talking about lights amid the darkness, and you may have seen in Louisa James's report a little bit earlier, this little girl singing, I mean, what all little girls sing, and lots of little boys, frankly, as well. Let It Go from Frozen. Her name is Amelia. She's been singing at the shelter in Kyiv. It was posted by a woman called Marta, who says she filmed it with permission from the girl's mother. And Marta describes it like this: from the first word in the shelter came complete silence from everyone else. Oh. Everyone put their business aside and listened to this song by this girl.
And she's got a lovely little voice as well.
She was really just beaming light. Even men couldn't hold back the tears.
Let's have a look.